That's right. Our weekly CMLL review show where we review the Brilliance Spectacular for the last week. Yeah, as you see, hey, Agent Lo-Fi, good to see you. As you see, this week I am by myself, Papa Oso, and preoccupied. It is currently the tail end of Hell Week here at the Bi-Conics podcast. I promise you, we're still going to have a good show. A lot of great wrestling. So let us start off real quick talking about Bi-Conics Hell Week. So this past weekend, it was crazy. If you love wrestling, we were not want for food this past week, and I'll tell you what. So the shows that we have remaining for our Hell Week series, if you will, tomorrow, April 25th, we have the TNA Unbreakable PLE review, which is at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then on Monday, April 28th, we're going to be doing Stardom Sin City and Stardom Neon City review, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But I know what everyone's here for. Everyone's here for some lucha, right? So let's talk about the April 18th episode of Viernes Espectacular, which was a great card, really entertaining for the week, setting up. Thank you very much. I'm going to send a shout out about the mask later on, but yep, this is my new mask for the series. So, and who knows, maybe another mask might be coming. We don't know. But anyway, so the April 18th, our show, we start off with something. We had Galaxy and Chakracito versus Mercurio and Full Metal. This was like I said, a Lecio for one fall. We opened up the match with and going at it, and then Chakracito and Full Metal, and then Chakracito and then Full Metal, and then that's when everything really started going. Mercurio, very entertaining. Mercurio, I always love it when he's on our TV. He really knows how to work the crowd really well. Chakracito, he's a bit of a brawler. Galaxy, your high flyer. For a little bit there, it did look like our Rudo team of Mercurio and Full Metal were going to get the win, but we did get a reversal, and we did get for the technical team. So our technicals did get a win. This was an entertaining first match. I guess what we can start now calling a standard first match for Brianna. And if you're watching and you got the chat thing going, toss us or let us know who your favorite luchador is. I would love to see it in the chat. So, but yep. So our first match went to our team of Galaxy and Shaka. Yep, as Agent Lo-Fi points out, it was a solid. Hello, there we go. Yeah, it was a solid minis opener. So what we come to expect from our Viernes Espectacular. So after this, we had our Amazonas. So it was a best 2 out of 3 pinfall where we saw our technical team with the Capitan of, then we had Kira and Sue against our Ruda team with the Capitan of Zoxys, Hera. And this was an interesting match. We did, so not to jump the headline here, but our lists do end up getting the win in this one. They did it in their Ruda way. A few things to point out with this match. There did seem to be a little bit of a disconnect with some of the Amazonas that were wrestling. I know that Candela isn't necessarily new, but she is newer to our TV screen. It looked like there was a few series where they were like waiting for someone to motion to them or whatnot, or waiting for someone to do something. So, but Zoxys and Scotty, 2 powerhouses, and it's always fun when that happens. And like I said, we do get the Amazonas, the Ruda team does end up with the win. Something else to point out in this match, it looked like Hera messed up her knee because she was favoring it and rubbing it and limping throughout a good portion of the match. So, however, I tried finding some sort of information. I couldn't find any information on Hera. So, Hera, if you are injured, we wish you well, and we can't wait to see you on our TV again. If you do have to go out. Yep, Agent Lo-Fi. This one started a bit off in the first fall, but yeah, they did click as the match went on. They did click. They had a bunch of really good series. It was also very fun at the end when you got everyone spamming their finishers, as we like to say. You had India Sue and Akira and Hera and Candela doing their big flying moves out, which left Scotty and Zoxys inside and did end up getting the pin. Yeah, that's what I figured. That the Lucha News is all pretty much about, but we'll talk about that later. That was our second match. Our third match is another best 2 out of 3 pinfalls, where we saw our technical team of Capitan Suicida, and this was another good match. A lot of energy. It was one of the entertaining things that I like when Volcano is on my screen is that they really do the no sell with him, and really picturing him or making him out like a immovable. So that's always in this match. We did get our technicals getting the win. There was a 3 technicals in this match. A very fun ending series where you actually had the 3 rudos. They were lined up, and then Ano hit a plancha off the top turnbuckle, and then the other technicals kind of piled on top to hold everyone down. So it was a really fun match. And yeah, I felt like this was definitely one of Volcano's better outings. A lot of other moves, flying moves. He hit a plancha. I think he hit like a moonsault type situation as well. And he's a big boy to be doing that. So, want to shout out Luca Jr. This was the first time I've seen him at Viernes Espectacular. I have seen him in Guadalajara and Puebla, but he, just like his dad, he is a high flyer, big guy with a lot of talent. So he was very fun to watch in this match. But yeah, Luca Jr. I hope we get more of him. Yeah, he has all the potential. I hope we do get more of him on Friday night. So, of course, his dad being Stuka Jr. who we'll talk about later. But for now, we're going to talk about the Universal Championship, because all these matches were a warm-up to this. Are the next elimination matches for the 2025 Universal Championship. This saw our tag champs, and Roja, against Magnus and Rugido. Very interesting to point out that both these teams are rudo. However, in this match, it seemed like Magnus and Rugido definitely acted the more rudo out of the two, definitely taking advantage of the breaking Angel de Oro and apart, attacking him when they were outside of the ring, doing a lot of those cheap shots that you tend to see the rudos. We also Angel de Oro and Roja hitting those high flying moves. They work really well, the Chavez brothers, as a tag team. I'm of all the matches, I feel like this match, it kind of stood out the most about how well they work together. Yeah, and they are so easy to root for. Even when they are rudos, they are so easy to root for. Let's see. I'm trying to read my notes. Flippy, doopy. Well, in the end, the Hermanos Chavez, they do pick up the win, hitting that I don't know what it's called. Agent Lo-Fi, or for anyone else out in the audience knows what the finishing move that the Hermanos Chavez, what they use. But it was this cool, hanging cradle thing where they get their opponents up and they swing them in between their legs. They did it synchronized. It was really cool. Well, actually, Nibble hit it standing up, and then Angel de Oro actually did a whole thing where he from the mat he hit it and then stood up to get it. So, but they do end up submitting Magnuson, and so we have Angel de Oro and Niebla Roja moving on to the next round of the Universal Championship match. So it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, now it seems like the Chavez brothers, the Hermanos Chavez, are getting quite the push as of late. We're going to talk about that later. So we'll get back to that, which brings us to our quick break. So we are the Bi-Conics podcast. We are a podcast. You can find us on anywhere that you listen to podcasts. But if you like what we do, you can find us all around the internet on one of these channels. We are also on Blue Sky. We have merch. Please check out the merch. We have the bcwrestlepod.creatorspring.com. We have some cool shirts. We have our squat match shirt. We also have some other very interesting shirts coming out, so keep an eye out for that. And also, if you do want to support us, please, you can become a Patreon over BC WrestlePod, and you'll get a whole bunch of cool stuff if you do. So that's that. And then I missed a slide because we had another match for the Universal Championship, and Atlantis Jr. and Averno. So we are going to keep it on that slide for right now, and then we're going to talk about that this match for the qualifier for the Universal Championship. So again, it was versus Atlantis Jr. versus Averno in a 3-way, and we start off really, really good. All three. very energetic, hitting a lot of high energy moves. This whole match just really felt like high energy. And I felt like you could tell with the luchadors because they at the end, they were definitely winded. And yeah, this match, well, it seemed like the crowd decided to take it up a notch. The first one that was eliminated. So in these triangular matches, what happens is a little bit different than a three-way match that you find in North American wrestling. In these triangular matches, what happens is you have one person, the first person that's pinned is actually eliminated, and then you have the last two people going at it, and whoever pins gets the win. The first person that was eliminated was Averno, Atlantis Jr., who hit his torture rack and made Averno, but then right away swoops in, and I'm going to call it a surprise roll-up, the most electrifying move in all sports entertainment. He hits that on Atlantis Jr. It's a little bit different than a surprise roll-up that though, because I feel like it's like a small package type situation that then Esfinge, when he hits it, it looks really cool and it just really smooth when he does that. But he hits it, ends up getting the pin on Atlantis Jr. A few things to point out. Esfinge did end up going after Atlantis Jr.'s mask for a little bit there. Very rudo technique. You got to risk it for the biscuit. You know what I mean? In the end, Esfinge and Atlantis Jr. do end up shaking hands, still walking away as técnicos. Esfinge does move on to the next round of the Universal Championship, which we are going to cover in a few moments. Actually, there it is. This is the slide. There it is. Isn't it amazing how things like that happen? Anyway, yeah, Agent Lo-Fi. Nothing better. I love hearing the sold-out crowd in Arena, and I really hope one day we can get there to be part of that and to experience it, because it seems like it's such an experience on TV. I could just imagine what it's like in real life. So this brings us to our main event, where we saw the technical team of Blue Panther, 2/3 of Sky Team, Máscara Dorada, and versus our Ultimo Guerreros, Stuka Jr. and Gran Guerrero. And as Viernes Espectaculares go, I feel, as we've kind of come to say, this felt like a standard Viernes Espectacular ending where everyone goes home happy. The match was very good. We saw some great spots with Ultimo Guerrero, Stuka Jr. and Gran Guerrero. Blue Panther stood out. Every time Blue Panther got in that ring, people lost their minds, and it was really cool to see. It's also really cool to see how well Blue Panther moves for how old he is. I mean, he was hitting topes. He was hitting not moonsaults, but the other one where you jump off the ring and you kind of do like a half flip into the person. But suffice to say, he was flying, and it was just, it's always such a treat to see him wrestling. Of course, Máscara Dorada and Neon, they did their Sky Team thing. Oh, I can't forget, we had Que Malito in the corner of the Rudos and Que Monito in the corner of the Técnicos. Early on, Que Malito did get a jump on Que Monito and is able to hit him with a splash and pins Que Monito. However, this is after the Técnicos do end up with the win. Very entertaining. Gran Guerrero, I'm going to tell you what. So the Luganos, they do this thing, right, where Gran Guerrero, he'll get ahead of steam, and either Stuka Jr. or Ultimo Guerrero will spot him and launch him, and Gran Guerrero will launch himself over the other person and like do a splash into the opponent. And I mean, every time he does that, I'm just amazed, because you have to see Gran Guerrero. He is a big piece of meat, and I mean that in the best way possible. And to see him fly like that is just fantastic. It just shows how agile him and these three are. And Stuka Jr., of course, he hit his plancha, which I love. He's just so good at it. It's so smooth. And yeah, and Gran Guerrero is he's one of the best bases that they have, because he's so big. And I think he's also a really good dance partner, that he knows when the other person is going to be doing like a high aerial move. He knows how to move with them to assist them to really make it look good. That was it for this week. Now, this upcoming week, it looks good, y'all. It looks good. Oh, I'm excited for tomorrow night, because we have the return of Taya Valkyrie and Lady Frost to Arena Mexico. They're going to be facing off against Dark Silueta and Xerxes. It's going to be very interesting to see if Taya Valkyrie and Lady Frost, if they do more heel techniques, because Dark Silueta and Xerxes are rudas. So it's going to be easy. It's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. But if you didn't see Taya Valkyrie and Lady Frost Arena Mexico earlier this year, I mean, I think, yeah, we are really excited. And if Taya is out, I will be very sad if that happens. I didn't hear about any injury for her, but I will check on that. And Billy Stark. Oh, we love Billy Starks here at the Bi-Conics. So okay, so if she's in Arena Mexico, then even better. So that's going to be really cool to see how that pans out. Yeah, Billy Starks. If you haven't seen Billy Starks, is a really great young that is coming up in, and yeah, I feel that she's gonna fit in really well down in Arena Mexico, and definitely it will be a great experience for her in this performance. So then we'll have Ultimo Guerrero versus the Time Stopper from NJPW/MLW. That's going to be a really interesting show. I expect to see a lot of hard kicks, hard hits, like Joshi style, because as we know, Ultimo Guerrero, he has also done time in Japan. They're going to be very good dance partners, I believe. And then we get to the Triangular Universal, the final triangular matches for the championship, the Universal Championship. So in our first Triangular, we have Flip Gordon versus Angel de Oro versus Euphoria. Second Triangular, we have Akuma versus Esfinge versus Roja. In our third Triangular, we have Titan versus Stigma versus Mephisto. This is going to be hot. And then from there, whoever the winners are from these triangulars is going to end up in the championship match for the end of the night. I mean, fair, yeah, that there was no seeding battle for the matches, yeah. But I'll tell you what, these matches are going to be hot. And I mean, we have a good chance to see, like Niebla Roja and El de Oro facing off against each other, for the Universal Championship. It's going to be very interesting if they do that, because earlier in the month we did see a little bit of rift opening up with the Hermanos Chavez. So we'll also see, if Titan makes it, he against Flip Gordon, that should be really good. The triangulars are just really entertaining. I mean, like, you got who's a big guy. It's going to be interesting to see how he handles Flip and Kuma, and they're both big, so it's going to be interesting to see how Niebla Roja handles those two big hunks of meat. And then Mephisto and Stigma and Titan, there's bodies are going to be flying all over the place. So just buckle yourselves in for that. And then, like I said, the champs from those matches are going to each other in the finals, and that's going to be the card for tomorrow. So very excited for tomorrow night's Viernes Espectacular from Mexico. We got some upcoming lucha though, so check this out. We got CMLL talent is going to be in some other shows. Our first show on May 10th is Azteca Lucha, which we're going to have MLW versus. It's going to be in Chicago. It's going to be for free on the MLW YouTube channel. So, on May 10th, if you want to see that lucha, mark your calendar down. The MLW shows have been entertaining so far. I mean, the last Battle Riot, the first half of the Battle Riot was just CMLL versus CMLL. So, I mean, you got to love it. And then if you haven't heard, on June 18th, AEW is coming to the Arena Mexico for the Grand Slam. Very excited to see what we get coming to on this Wednesday night Grand Slam, which is going to be, I believe they're airing as a Dynamite. So, and oh yeah, that's right. Thank you, El Jefe. We will be doing a live watch along for the Azteca Lucha. So, like I said, it's going to be for free on the MLW YouTube channel. So, you can put it on one screen and then on another screen, or a sub. You can chill with us and we can all make fun of the dirty bros getting their butts beat by a bunch of luchadors. So yeah, I want to send a shout out. This past week, I was fortunate enough to travel over to Southern California, and I spent some time with El Jefe. We went to a great place though, El Jefe, down there in Southern California, called Lucha Brewing Company. Great food, great beer. However, I mean, come on, look at this ambiance. It's so good. They had Lucha Libre playing on they actually had Nacho Libre playing at first on the TVs. It was a great experience. So thank you, Luchador Brewing Company, for having us, and also thank you for the mask. I loved it. So yeah, you know what? On our Instagram, I'm gonna post some of the pictures of the food that I ate in SoCal, and you can drool even more because it was really, really, really good. So that's it. That's it for our episode of Los Lobos de Lucha. Don't miss out tomorrow night, the TNA review, and then on Monday our Stardom review, and then starting next week we go back to our regular programming. So Los Lobos de Lucha will be back on Wednesdays. El Jefe will be here. Hopefully Papa Oso will be here as well, if he's done doing what he does, because Papa Oso is awesome and we've been missing him. So, but until then, I am Adolfo.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's going to happen next time? Well, you're going to have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.